I did mention it. I did mention that.
Well,
yeah,
we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
On the couch like damn, what a slam. Then it's back to you, grouches. My crew just might roll on you like TP.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Lost Legends TV. We are
Rated MC.
I'm Ray.
I'm James.
And we have our lifelong friend here. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
My name's Skylar. What's up, y'all?
And we're gonna rank the Nightmare on Elm Street films from our worst to our best.
And we brought Skylar along because he is such a huge fan of Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm a bigger fan of it than
either one of
two
us
combined.
Hands down.
Like he's more on Halloween. It's Friday. I'm Friday, and he's Nightmare. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I said let's go ahead and get it started. Skylar, you want to crack us off with your number 9?
All right, so my number 9 is Freddy's Dead. I mean, I would really hope that it would be my number 9.
Okay, so tell us why Freddy's Dead is number 9 for you.
This movie's fucking trash.
I'm not even gonna like hold off. That's my number 9 too, honestly.
That's also mine.
Yeah, because it's just terrible.
Roseanne is in this movie.
Roseanne Barr, yeah.
Like, why? One of the things I really didn't like about it was the whole 3D glasses thing.
It was pointless.
Like, why was that a thing?
3D back then was so terrible. Like, I don't know why.
I know. I'm just talking about like the fact that she had to use 3D glasses to get into Freddy's mind.
Oh, you're talking about the actual movie part of
yes, like the actual movie part where she used them to get into like that's so fucking stupid to me.
I did like the whole thing about they explored his backstory a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I did like about the movie.
I'll give it that, at least. I mean, but other than that, there's nothing redeemable about
even though his backstory is kind of terrible in this movie, at least they explored it, so I give them that.
Probably my biggest one is all around the project was just trash.
Yeah.
From the jump, there's no return story about why Freddy's there after 5. So we don't even know if this is kind of canon to the other films or if this is just a standalone film. Freddy's makeup was god horrible.
It's the worst makeup in the series.
It's just like they really just half-assed it.
They probably did.
There was only one scene I even enjoyed in this whole movie, and that was the guy with the earplugs. And Freddy standing there like, that's the only thing I enjoyed.
He takes the chalkboard, starts scraping it.
All right, so we all got our number 9. We'll go back to you, Scott. Well, what's your number 8?
Number 8 for me had to be Dream Child. I didn't like this movie at all. It's way better than Freddy's Dead, in my opinion. But to me, to be honest with you, the whole point of him trying to possess a child or something like that was absolutely crazy. And the lead actress in this movie, oh my God, she is absolutely terrible in this movie.
Alice?
Yeah, Alice. She is absolutely awful in this movie.
So, my number 8 is also like it's so. Why is that a storyline? Like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? I probably would have been okay with just about anything else for that movie. Besides, he's using the life force of a child to bring himself back. You know what I mean? It just didn't fit for me.
I feel like after Dream Warriors came out, Wes Craven was involved in Dream Warriors. He helped write the script. I feel like after that movie, I feel like they didn't have any idea where to go with it. They just sort of took ideas out of a hat and just kind of picked them out.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Ray, what's your number?
Mine was also Nightmare 5, the child.
Hey, we're on point so far, guys.
Hey.
I'm going to take a different approach on this. I actually kind of like what they did with the Dream Child. Not that Freddy was using the baby as a fucking surrogate,
Yeah.
But that he can reach Alice through her baby. I kind of like that idea because it was new. They tried to play it off like he can bend reality like that. And I feel like that was a good story, but they didn't capitalize on it the way they should.
Okay, I feel you. I mean, it's just
Because it was like, if I can't get in your dreams, I'm getting your baby's dreams. I'm gonna reach you somehow.
I can feel that. It's just
they didn't execute it.
Yeah, they didn't.
It could have been way better. The idea could have been explored just a little bit more. I feel like if the movie was a little bit longer, it could have helped the movie. But they always have to put these movies as like an hour and a half. You know.
Yeah.
And I hated the fucking ending. It was stupid.
Yeah, it was. Skylar, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Dream Master. The Dream Master for me is like, it's way better than all of the other sequels that we've already mentioned. I like the fact that they brought back the Dream Warriors for number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't like how they killed them 30 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
That was absolutely stupid. I feel like they could have explored them a little bit more. They didn't have to, introduce Alice at all.
Yeah.
They could have kept the Dream Warriors in the movie. They could have killed...
What's that character's name? Because in that one, they recast her from 3.
Yeah, Tuesday night was...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember the fucking name of myself either.
Me, myself, I like the actress in 3.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the recast, personally.
Yeah, Patricia Arquette did a really good job as that character.
What's your number 7, right?
Freddy vs. Jason.
Hey, so we're changing it up.
Hey, dope.
Because this movie, I love the idea, but this should have took place 10 years prior to when this was made. When I first watched the movie, I was little. I had a different point of view, but watching it as an adult, there was some seriously shitting acting.
Mm-hmm.
It is really good, bad acting.
And I don't know why. I didn't like the costume design of Freddy. Robert Englund was... I know he was a little bit older now, but... There's a scene in the movie where he's basically fucking Demon Freddy for a second.
Yeah.
He looks phenomenal.
The thing about Freddy, for me, is like, as he got older, the makeup got worse because I feel like they had to compensate for his face a little bit more.
My number 7 is different than both of those. It's the remake. I wasn't into it. You know what I mean?
Was it the movie or was it Jackie Earl?
It wasn't Jackie Earl, honestly. Like I didn't
Jackie
mind
Earl
him.
Haley did a really good job.
I did not mind him at all. The movie didn't catch me like I wanted it to. Like it didn't. It came flat. You know what I mean?
Bland.
Like, it was bland. It didn't come through like.
It didn't have no love to it.
At least with like say the remake of like the Friday the 13th one. It was dark, like dark leading or whatever, but it was still pretty nice. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't as good as the original couple or whatever, but it was still nice. But this, it fell flat. Jackie Earle Haley, a fantastic job as Freddy. I think they could have done a lot better job with the whole thing, but because it fell so flat, it's number 7 for me. What is your number 6, Scott?
My number 6 is Freddy's Revenge. I like the whole story of him possessing Jesse. This is the only movie that you actually get to see him go on a murderous rampage.
Yeah.
They got that one scene in the backyard.
Yeah.
That was the best scene in the movie, where he just absolutely obliterates everyone.
So why is it number 6 then?
It's number 6 to me because Wes Craven wasn't involved in this movie, right?
Yeah.
So they did good with him not being involved. They could have done a whole lot better.
Had he still been in it? Was just
he felt the script was flat. I actually thought the script was kind of good. This movie's still kind of subpar for me. This movie's actually really, I don't want to say gay, but
because they didn't have the homophobic shit in there.
The homoerotic stuff.
There's disrespect to homosexuals.
No, not at all.
It did have a touch of homosexuality in here.
It's not a bad thing, honestly.
Yeah. The whole dance scene.
But I mean, if you disregard all the sequels and you see the original and you're like, oh my god, this is great, and you turn to this one, you're kind of like, hold up.
I get you. So what is your number 6 then?
Mine is the remake as well. I love Jackie Earle. He did his own take. This Freddy was very dark.
Yeah.
He didn't pull any punches. I mean, if he wanted you, he
it's more
like a fish.
It was more on par with the original movie.
Yeah.
Yes. And they kind of took a twist with the story where Freddy was an actual pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I really loved about that movie.
No, they went straight for it.
Because the time that it came out at the perfect time. They had a whole lot of movies where it was like really dark and there was kids being killed in movies and all that kind of stuff. It came out at the perfect time that it did, and they was able to take it that far.
Well, here's the thing: you have to follow Robert Englund as Freddy, and that's hard to do.
Yeah,
That's extremely hard.
That's like Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård did an amazing job as Pennywise, but you can't never beat Tim Curry. You know what I mean?
Like, they took the story, they knew what it was, and they went for it. No games played. The
So
movie
flat.
came off as bland and flat.
Yeah.
There's this one scene. He's in this store, and he's suffering from serious sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
And he's going in and out of reality. I really love that scene. But other than that, it's not very climatic at all.
No.
And it's kind of predictable.
And the way they used CG in this movie was absolutely inexcusable.
Yeah, I didn't like the CGI'd face.
Where he comes out of the wall, they could have did practical with, because practical effects nowadays are absolutely amazing.
Another thing about Jackie Earle, even though they did deepen his voice, he could do the voice.
Yeah, he did the Rorschach voice
Yeah,
for
you ever
him.
seen Watchmen? Yeah.
You're not real. I am now.
Yeah, that's his
Like,
voice.
they did not cast a bad Freddy.
No.
They did not. It's just the movie did not come across the way
proved-
we needed it to.
It proved that you can recast Freddy Krueger.
Yes. And
That's
I'm
what
sure
the
they can
movie
do it
did
again
prove.
eventually in the future. But for now, it just wouldn't for me. My number 6 was Freddy vs. Jason. And it kind of plays off of, like, it's something that you said. If it had been made 10 years earlier, it's a better movie.
Yeah. Okay, imagine this. This is a better analogy. Take Friday the 13th Part 7 Jason
Yeah.
and Part Nightmare 3 Freddy.
Yeah.
That's a damn good movie.
Exactly. It's just like,
Regardless of a shitty cast or story.
it was just, like Robert Englund was just too old for the movie. You know what I mean? He should have been there. The acting is fucking terrible, but just the aspect of Freddy versus Jason and the actual fight scenes that they do come across with are enough to redeem it for me to make it number 6 for me.
The reason that it wasn't higher on my list is because they didn't take any of the previous films and try to go back to them. They didn't bring back, or they didn't try to bring back Nancy. They didn't try to bring back Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, it didn't really like play off of any of the other movies. It was literally just its own movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like new characters, and it just happened to bring both of these people in.
And the way that they kind of just shoehorned Jason into the movie just kind of didn't make sense to me. Like, okay, he was in Camp Crystal Lake. Where did Freddy come into that?
you know what I mean? Yeah, I get you.
Well, this is supposedly because you had Jason X, but before that you had the Final Friday. Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
At the very end of that movie,
Yeah.
Freddy Glove comes up.
Yeah.
Which is that
So
they
I
were
feel
setting it up, but
I feel like they just took Jason X and they didn't.
they
were
scrapped it like it
they
never
didn't
happened or
scrap it.
whatever.
But to play off that, I think if it was my script, I would have went off that, and you could have had, because in the introduction, Freddy is supposed to find Jason in hell. Could you imagine like this Freddy versus like a Tom Savini Demon Jason?
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
There's so many ways they could have went, but they went the shortest, quickest route, and that's what messed the film up for me personally.
What's your number 5 then?
My number 5 is the remake.
So he finally got to it.
This movie's not absolutely terrible. I like it way more than any of the sequels after Dream Warriors. I had wanted a new Freddy movie for a very long time, and it gave me that. While this movie could have been a whole lot better, it still gave us the dark Freddy that we had always wanted for a very long time. The one thing that I say I didn't like about this movie is I hated Nancy in this movie. Rooney Mara, if y'all ever actually look up anything about this movie, she did not care about this movie at all. She was just there for a paycheck, and I feel like that is how.
See, that might have been the reason why it came across flat and bland, because she didn't care.
Nobody cared about this
Besides
movie.
that Jackie.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of came off like.
Besides Jackie Earle, everybody felt like there was this,
They didn't even consult Wes Craven for this movie, and that's why this movie just fell flat. I will say that I love this movie because they gave us the Dark Freddy.
So what would be your number 5, bro?
My number 5 is Part 2. So in the series, I think there's multiple versions of Freddy.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2, he had very little screen time and he was very dark. 3, 4, 5, and 6 is when you had the laughable, jokeable, less terrifiable Freddy. And then you had Wes Craven's New Nightmare Freddy, which is personally my favorite. But we'll get into that later. So the reason this ranks so high for me is that this was still in the dark Freddy. He was cynical, almost like the remake Freddy. You know what I mean? It's a different part, but in the sense where he didn't crack jokes, you know. When he fuck with your mind, he's going to do it in a really fucked up way. That's satisfying to him, but not as laughable as the sequel Freddy's.
Yeah.
Would y'all agree that there's different versions?
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What was it that you just really, really didn't like about the movie though? The reason why it's not higher.
It felt like after you watch the first one and you watch the second one, there's a different atmosphere there when it comes to the cast and the movie itself. Freddy feels the same, and like he said, there's a scene in there that I really love. What did he explode from?
He exploded from like a ventilation shaft or something like that. Mm-hmm. No, it was a gutter.
And he raises the water, he starts bullying these bitches in the pool.
He took reality and like fucked with it.
Yeah, this was the only movie that I can honestly think of in the whole franchise that Freddy goes on a fucking killing spree, and it's just awesome. You don't get that a lot from Freddy, you know? Anytime he's in the real world and the rest of the sequels, he's getting his ass kicked. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Freddy's not about like the high kill numbers. He's more about
the mind games.
He's more about the mind games, and also it's the spectacle of his kills. It's not about the number.
So my number 5 is Dream Master. I really like how it started off. You know what I mean? How they brought the characters back from, Dream World. You know what I mean? It was nice. I really liked it. And then it took the turn when he killed them off. Now, I didn't really mind it too much. The only thing that really kind of, agitated me and why it's not higher was they just switched a lead in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why start it, with this one character that, from the last, and then just kill her off and like, okay, now she has her powers. Had it not gone that way and it kept it like going in a way and then maybe even killed everybody off but the main girl, I might have been alright with it. You know what I mean? I might have been able to keep it, like, make it move a little higher. But because the switch and they didn't really keep it the way I wanted it, you know what I mean? I can't go higher than 5. You know what I mean?
I will say in this movie, it's probably got my favorite kill in the franchise where he notices that this girl doesn't like roaches. And,
the roach ones?
He puts her in the roach box and squishes the fuck out of her.
All right, number 4, Skylar, what you got for number 4?
Freddy versus Jason.
Damn, he put that pretty high.
Yeah. In my opinion, Freddy vs. Jason, that's what horror fans had wanted for years. This movie's got some really bad acting in it. This movie is like the ultimate B-movie slasher of all time. This movie's got my favorite kill in the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And it's not even Freddy who does the kill. It's Jason.
Oh, you're talking about the bed move?
No, I'm not talking about the bed move. I'm talking about where he takes that machete and he just...
just smacks over it? Oh.
I was like, how the hell is she not ripped in half from that?
That was a beautiful-ass kill. I still think I like the bed one a little better, where he just like fucking folded that dude in the bed. That was fucking insane.
I only like that kill better because... it's just so over the top. Like, there's no way he slung that bitch that far.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, there's certain moments. Remember when he literally picked Freddy up after he drags him through the fucking windows and shit? And he slings in one arm.
Like I said, the fights were amazing.
The fight scene was amazing.
The scene was good.
That's why I love this movie so much. It's like, it's got so much potential to be a good movie, and it shows.
Yeah, it's so hard to put it so low because like there was so much, and I like even with the like how I had the remake really low. If Freddy vs. Jason was just slightly better for me. One thing I will take it back to that I didn't like. Remember? I can't even remember his damn name because I can't remember none of these characters, man.
They're so unforgettable.
Yeah, the white dude who was going after Kelly Rowland's character. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who died on the tree, like bleeding out and shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I did not like that death at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought he should have done something else. and got like killed by Jason.
He could have been the whole hero of the movie.
Yeah, like he could have. That'd have been great. But no, I didn't like how they ended it like that. With him. Ray, what is your number 4?
Well, my number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I didn't like the recast. Kristen.
It was Kristen.
This character the recast character was very bland. And like I said, I love how they brought back the Dream Warriors, but it all ended too quickly. I mean, from the jump. I guess I can understand in a way if Freddy's pissed now that he's back, so he's going to get these bitches out the way.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it would have been better if they'd have followed up with it or something and left Alice like towards the end,
Well, yeah, I mean, if they would have spent the whole movie killing off, I'd be okay with that. It would have been a little more redeemable.
Yeah.
I didn't like that Alice was able to take their powers, but I did like it in the sense that she could redeem the Dream Warriors because they got killed off in the first 20 minutes of the film. Mm-hmm. But they should have gave them more screen time. They were so good in part 3, in my opinion.
They were
coming together. I don't know why or what made them do that. Just kill them off.
I'm about to say my number 4, but I'm realizing that we are. It's not might not be in the same order. We all have the same 3 movies left. I don't think they're going to be the same.
They're not going to be.
They're not going to be the same. But so my number 4 is Freddy's Revenge, which is the second one. There's not much to say about it. It was a solid movie. I think it would have been better if they'd have kept Nancy in the movie. Nothing I would go back and I need to watch this movie. But I mean, it wasn't as bad as Freddy's Dead or even the remake or anything to me. It was nice. Like I said, he was a dark Freddy. Like the kills are just fucking amazing. But
so this just misses the list for you.
Just misses it for me. Before we started filming, you said the top 3 for you are so hard to decide. I know you said you knew your number 1 from the jump.
Absolutely.
I knew my number 1 from the jump. Yeah. It was kind of hard to decide 2 and 3. Overall, what did you decide was your number 3?
Right. So my number 3 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Okay.
I had the same.
All right. So it's number 3 for me because it does bring back the Dark Freddy. This Freddy is fucking brutal in this movie. He don't take no shit for anything. And I love the redesign where he's got like the demon little glove and he actually has a knife on his thumb, you know what I mean? And the trench coat's fucking amazing in this movie. The one thing that I say that I don't like about this movie is the fact that as the movies go along, Freddy's appearances kind of get bland a little bit, It'll start off amazing and then his appearances just kind of decline.
I will say that in the whole series, I'll probably rank the makeup in order.
Yeah.
It's just it's a little less and a little less in each film.
So you also have your number 3,
which is Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
So
I love that Wes Craven got involved in this and
he was actually in the movie.
Oh yeah, and this movie, if this movie wasn't made, Scream wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I know.
How do you follow Freddy's Dead?
Because it was so fucking bad.
They had to completely redo everything.
And that's exactly what Wes Craven did. I know almost all of them are about bringing Freddy into the real world, but this one takes a spin on real life characters. Mm-hmm. Wes Craven's writing everything that's going down, so you're literally watching the movie that Wes Craven's created.
Yes.
It's a movie about a movie being made within a movie.
Yeah.
Basically. Dope.
And like you said, I fucking love, this is my favorite version of Freddy. If I ever get to meet Robert Englund in person, the one thing I've always wanted to ask him is who would be more dominant, the classic Freddy or Wes Craven's demonic Freddy?
It would definitely be the demonic Freddy.
Yes.
It would be this Freddy. This Freddy don't give a fuck.
Like you said, Nancy's back, but everybody plays as themselves, even Robert Englund. Mm-hmm. And Robert Englund even plays that so well, And there's this weird thing going on, and everybody knows it, but you just don't know what it is. The only thing I really didn't like about the movie was the kills. The only one I really enjoyed was the throwback on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Where he's dragging the bitch across the ceiling.
And you actually get to see him dragging her across the ceiling in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like if they would have added a little more gruesome creative kills, this would have been a lot higher for me.
Yeah.
But like I said, Wes Craven, to me, saved the series with this movie. So this is why this is so high for me.
So my number 3 is not the same as y'all's. My number 3 is Dream Warriors. The damn TV kill. The TV kill is so fucking good.
That's my favorite kill in the franchise.
That's so fucking amazing.
And you know, he improvised the final line of that scene. He improvised the fuck out of it. That is the only line that he ever improvised throughout the entire franchise.
It had the TV kill, it had a good plot. I really liked that they took a chance with killing Nancy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
I think it would have hit harder for me had she been in all three movies, the first three movies. Had she been in 1, 2, and 3, it would hit so much harder for me when they did that.
It'd have been like a mother.
Yeah, it would have got me. You know what I mean? It would have got me
like a mother situation.
But you know, that's the only reason it's not higher on the list for me. Is like I said, I feel like 2 kind of brings that down just a little bit, just because if she's in the whole series, it's a lot more meaningful for that death to me. It's still so much better than all the other movies behind it. You know what I mean? So much better. Down to your last 2, Skylar. What is number 2?
All right, my number 2 is Dream Warriors. If you look at the movies that I like, I love the Avengers. You know what I mean? This movie is like the horror movie version of the Avengers. Yeah. It has a whole lot of, you know, people with individual powers and everything like that, you know, and they use that to try and stop them. Freddy's, you know, the wisecracking Freddy that we all came to love, you know what I mean? I read that there's actually a second script where he's not comedic at all. You know, you still get that dark humor or whatever from the first film. Freddy's amazing in this movie. He's got one of the greatest lines in horror movie history in this movie. And it's like the Avengers, which I love the Avengers.
So your number 2
is 3.
Yeah. See, so y'all had the same thing. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Like I said, 2 and 3 was so hard for me. My number 2 is New Nightmare. You know what I mean? It was just like I said, back and forth with it the whole time. But I eventually went with it like that.
This was the first version of Freddy where he wasn't too comedic in this film.
Yeah.
But this was a new Freddy, you know? 1 and 2, you had that dark kind of behind the curtain, and then you die. Really love the kills in this film. Especially Welcome to Primetime, bitch.
Yeah.
Welcome to Primetime, bitch!
You had the sleepwalking kill.
That was good.
The story was a really good story. Nancy come back, Heather Langenkamp, had John Saxon come back.
Yeah.
So you had a really good cast, you had a really good story, and they capitalized on it really, really good. I'm glad they didn't, regardless of the shitty sequels, but they could have made this a good trilogy and stopped here, and they could have had a masterpiece almost.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So my number 2 is New Nightmare. It redeemed the series to me. You know what I mean? Like, after 3, it really does start to fall down.
With each movie.
Movie. 4 was all right. 5 was just not on the par with the rest of the movie. And 6 was so fucking bad. And then New Nightmare comes out, and it's amazing. Like I said, the Demon Freddy, the ceiling kill was so fucking good. The fact that they played it like it was a movie that he was writing, but it was happening to them in real life. It was so redeemable. It almost made me want to go back and watch the other ones, like 4, 5, and 6. Just to like realize they came to this idea, you know, because it was so good. You know what I mean?
My favorite thing about the film that I think I forgot to say was this demonic Freddy coming into the world. According to Wes Craven's film, this is a demon who has been living in the character of Freddy.
Yeah.
So the Freddy character is no longer here. He has to come out somehow because, hey, you killed Freddy off. Freddy's no longer there. So this demon's free, but he's taking the form of Freddy. And I really love that Wes Craven, how Nancy, throughout the whole film, she takes credit for Nancy, but throughout the whole film, she's like, you know.
Yeah, it's not me.
It's not me. And my favorite line of Wes Craven in this whole movie is, it's going to have to come down to you having to play Nancy one last time. Freddy twists his reality after Dylan escapes the hospital. And John Saxon and everything turns into the original fucking the house.
Yeah, that's just great. And I loved his lair in this movie. His lair is fucking amazing.
And he waited for the moment where he comes out of the bed and he's waiting while they're talking. Mm-hmm. And she says, "Okay, Daddy, game on."
We all have the same number 1. So I feel like I'm gonna let Skylar say it, and we'll all just talk about it because it's always our number one. So Skylar,
Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. Okay, this movie is absolutely amazing. This movie is what got me into like horror films in general. Johnny Depp gets sucked into the bed. You know, blood comes.
And you got to think about it as somebody who would have watched that movie in '84. You would have not thought of that. You know what I mean? You would have thought like he'd have knocked him out of the bed and killed him next to the window or some shit. This man just pulled him in and just a fucking geyser full of blood just hitting the ceiling.
You know, and one thing that I forgot to mention about Freddy Krueger, I like Jason, I like Michael Myers, I like Chucky, I like them all. You know what I mean? But it's like with Freddy, the only thing that I can say about Jason and Michael Myers is the fact that they're kind of, you know, blank slates. You know?
Yeah, because they don't talk.
They don't talk or anything.
Move.
The only thing that's interesting about them
is the kills.
And their backstories.
Mm-hmm.
Their backstories are amazing. But it feels like with Freddy is just, his personality is great. You know, he's got a good backstory. Freddy, his personality is what makes him understandably my favorite horror movie villain of all time, is because you actually get to feel his emotions.
Going into the 60s, 70s, and 80s, all you had was really slasher movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's either some dude in the woods, some dude in your house. And I'm not knocking that because I love Friday and Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But this was something that Wes Craven came up with that was fucking brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sleep.
That's what I'm saying.
It
was basically like Bird Box. We have Bird Box. We have
where you have to look.
We have Hush. You know, it's taking all of these things that are necessities, and this was the first of that kind of movie.
Like that's
you have to sleep. Like you have to go to sleep.
Think about that as somebody watching the movie in '84. You're fucking terrified to go to sleep after watching that movie because you wouldn't have thought about that. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't an idea that was coming to your head.
And the idea was brilliant.
It was absolutely
the costume
amazing.
design was there. It had a damn good cast. I mean, you had Johnny Depp, his debut role.
His first appearance as Freddy Krueger. I'm not talking about, you know, the first 5 minutes where she's in the boiler room. I'm talking about, you know, where he's in the alleyway, where you fully see him in costume. You see his face. That's something I'll never forget in my whole life, you know.
There is only one thing that I could even sort of not like about the movie, and it's not even like a bad thing because I get it was the 80s. It definitely wasn't like a high budget movie or nothing like that. The only thing that I possibly don't like about the movie is that there's one scene where like he falls down, and if you pause it fast enough, you see him landing on a mattress.
Yeah.
And like I said, but you really have to be looking for that. And if you watch the movie normally, that doesn't come across. Like you don't think about that. Like if I tell you about it, you might go look and try to find that shit. If you just watch the movie, that's not something that comes into your head because it goes by kind of quickly when he falls and he moves on. You know, you don't think about that shit. That's the only thing that I would even say that's sort of a down for it. I mean, everything else about the movie, especially like for when it came out, and the fact that it capitalized on people's fears of like trying to go to sleep and everything, phenomenal movie.
The one thing that I don't like about this movie, there's a particular deleted scene where Nancy's mom, it's an alternate take of the scene where Nancy's mom's kind of explaining the backstory of the character. And in the alternate take of the scene, she talks about how Nancy and Tina and Rod and, you know, Glenn, they all had siblings before, you know, all of this had went down. Like, they had brothers and they had sisters, and Freddy killed them all. And he's coming back to finish the job. And I feel like if they would have added that scene into the movie, he would have been so much more darker. You would have had a bigger perspective on the kind of person that he is, because back then nobody had really knew who he was, you know what I mean, up until, you know, Dream Warriors had came out.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting because you take that aspect. Freddy's already been there once, now he's coming back. And I imagine he'll be pissed off this time.
Exactly.
It's an interesting idea.
And I feel like when he wasn't, the burnt, charred Freddy Krueger that we all know, I feel like he wasn't as freaky and as mysterious as he was back then. But
I think he was humanized.
He was humanized a little bit. And I feel like if we would have got a little bit more of his backstory, we would have, not sympathized with him, but we would have understood what he was trying to do.
Well, I can understand why they didn't really go deep into his backstory, because that's something like just presenting that idea would have got them to agree to do the movie, like the New Line Cinema and everything. That would have got them to push the movie because you capitalize on people's fears and shit.
Oh, and another thing that a lot of people don't understand about this movie, I think the budget was $700,000, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
It was very low budget, and they took that movie and they just fucking.
It's like the same with the original Halloween movie. It was just low budget.
See, it's more impressive with Nightmare on Elm Street though, because of the spectacle of these kills and everything,
and the fact that he has to be in the dreams and shit.
Yeah, I will say that I'm more of a Halloween and Friday fan, but when it comes to that aspect, Nightmare takes it and runs.
Yeah,
it's the biggest as far as slashers go. Nightmare on Elm Street's probably, it's not the best in my opinion, but you take that concept and you just run with it. It's the best one there is, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's the brilliant mind of Wes Craven.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Wes. Rest in peace.
Thank you. Rest in peace, Wes.
Thank you, Wes Craven, for just coming with this idea when you did. Capitalizing on people's fears. Again, that's just nothing that I thought anybody would have thought of at the time. He could have easily just gone with another slasher. You know what I mean? He could have easily done. He could have even kept the dude as a burn victim and all that stuff, and still came with another slasher fit. Take it a step further. Take it outside the box. He attacks you in your dreams, so you have to fight.
You have to have sleep. It's a necessity to have sleep, and he takes that away from you, and it's just. Amazing. That's
gonna be all for us today for this. I hope you enjoyed our rankings. If you disagree, if you have a different ranking, you feel free to put them in the comments. Tell us anything you want to tell us about the franchise, the series, whatever you want to.
Thanks for watching, and
thanks for having me, guys.
No problem, man. Anytime. That's gonna be all for us, guys. See you in the next one.
See you.
Deuces.
Adios.
Miss me.